Hello everybody, my name is Haley, and today I am playing more Fear and Hunger. I will be pursuing Cahara's S ending, or happy ending. Um, I'll say more on that when we get there. I have thoughts. This S ending is going to be a lot easier to obtain than any of the other ones, really, because we're just going to be booking it through, just doing what's necessary. No need to fight any of the final onslaught of bosses. So I will have my strategy up right now. We are starting with the skills lockpicking because we can open doors, and escape plan helps us escape or run from battle easier, and of course dash, because otherwise the game feels very slow. And we need to purchase the maps from Isaiah when he appears in the level 1 entrance. And I can show you how to get enough coins for that. We will only need to obtain the treasure for map number 2, though. You don't have to get the one from map number 1. But we do have to purchase them so that Isaiah appears again when we get the map number 2 treasure in Mahab. And we have to fight him, and then we will loot map number 3 off of him and be able to obtain the King's Crown, which is the item we need to obtain the S ending for Cahara. And we will also need to stop off and check on Lagarde, and then we will be allowed to leave the dungeons. So, that all said, let us begin our attempt. I do still die a lot, but again, it is easier to complete this run, though. It's not just totally soul draining like Ragnvaldr's S ending is. I had only like clips from 6 attempts, I believe, in my video on Ragnvaldr, but I did die way more times, and I did record a lot more than what I ended up putting all together in the video. So anyway, let's get started. I already have a save file created, so I know what maps will spawn for Cahara here. As usual, we'll start by looting. And I am just gonna let myself go on a little bit of autopilot as far as looting unnecessary things, because I find that when I deliberately stop myself from doing that, then I'm more likely to make a mistake. Grab the mop gut book here. Oh god, they made it through. Okay. Okay. Cahara has a lot higher success rate for running away from enemies than the other characters I've noticed. I don't know if that can be backed up in the game's programming, but I certainly feel like I have more success even without the skill escape plan. Alright, I'm gonna move around here because there is a big baddie guard there. By big baddie, I mean one that uses a mace and a sword, and has a helmet, and seems to be immune from bear traps, so really don't like engaging with those compared to the regular guards, and even those end up causing an issue. Ideally, I will get an empty scroll so that I can obtain the skill leg sweep. Just in case I need to end up fighting the Black Witch. But I have been able to successfully avoid her. I just, you know, as a fail-safe, basically. I am going ahead and getting All-Mare Affinity for Blood Portal. You know, I like Blood Portal because it is helpful when I do make mistakes and need to backtrack. I will save the bunny mask, though, for if I need it to recharge health early on. But I'm actually not really going to be unlocking skills beyond Blood Portal. I don't have an explosive vial yet, so I do pick up the Eastern Sword in the thicket when I do have an explosive vial. Because I need it to fight Isaiah without much issue. Alright, here's more All-Mare Affinity. And I'm gonna get a Soul Stone and Purifying Talisman from these priests. Thankfully, our Mercenary Cahara does not start equipped with fur armor, so even if they use Lantern on you, it's not as bad. You can still catch on fire, but like you're not weak to fire. Okay, using the Soul Stone here. Alright. Now we can leave. Go back to this. Oh, the hounds are still alive. Well, we'll see how it goes. Didn't really fit me. We can just talk to this prisoner and tell him to die, and he'll go, yeah, that sounds good. Okay. Loot some stuff here. I'm gonna run from him because I cannot get a guaranteed 250 attack on him with just a scimitar. Alright, and now we can unlock Blood Portal with the affinity for All-Mare up. We prayed 3 times. That was what I needed the Purifying Talisman for, to open that door. And here we go. Blood Portal! Remember to actually Blood Portal here. Okay. Now we need to go and unlock the mines so that Isaiah will appear. Still no explosive vial, that's okay. Go through here. Oh, an empty scroll, ayo! And I have a quill. So let me go ahead and use this. Oh Lord, teach me. Leg sweep. No, sweep. If you make an alphabetical mistake, that's just too bad. The game will only accept very specific spelling, and also that extends to if you want to unlock defense stance, by the way, you do have to spell defense with a C instead of an S. Otherwise, you just end up wasting the empty scroll and you don't learn the skill. So. And we might as well see if there's maybe some plate armor around. Okay, it's going great. Okay, well, there is nothing, so oh well. I'm gonna go up here. Get 2 prisons. Abolish prisons is one of my values, by the way. There's a guard up here with the ballista. Okay. To clarify earlier, when I mentioned 250 attack against the guard, I mean that I think his arms, at least the one with the axe or the meat cleaver, you do have to hit for 250 HP, I think, in order to. So that's what I. Sometimes I don't finish my thoughts. I think that's attention span limitation. Okay. And we're gonna go ahead and pop up here. Defeat Torture. Yeah, you do feel kind of bad for him now. Like, that looks like some drool coming out. I mean, like, the lore for this guy, just in the game text. I'm not surprised he ended up being this way, we'll say. Not that he isn't responsible for continuing that journey, but. Alright, and this is why we defeated him, because we need to check on Buckman. So that we can then go back down here. And meet him back in that armory room. So that we can pick up 40 silver coins. Which will help us in being able to afford the maps from Isaiah when he appeared. Hey, that was a bus. There was the thing really that I was looking for there. That's okay. So let's go ahead and move back down to the mines now that we have raised up this mechanism. Here's the caverns. Not gonna bother with the bridge because I don't want to be moonless because she will wreck me. I'm gonna go around this way. And I don't know. I try to talk to Nose Ramus and get on friendly terms just in case, as I don't think it really affects it negatively. It doesn't matter. It just perhaps it's just in my character to project that character trait onto other video game beings. Just be friendly. just cause. Like it really impacts me negatively to treat other beings with disrespect, even if like others might say, "Oh, well, they deserve it" or whatever. It's not necessary, though. It doesn't enrich my spirit. Which is not to say I don't feel frustrated by people frequently. But like, okay. Anyway, I do have leg sweep, so I could just take out both legs here. So in my last video, I just made a note of the Black Witch's character design, along with her name being Black Witch, and just pointed out that it feels like this wasn't created in a cultural vacuum, like racism and anti-blackness, white supremacy affect all of the world in the structures, constructs we create as people. And I recognize, like, even though I said that character is the only one named Black Witch with those features, like, I can tell that they're trying to, in the lore, connect her to, like, these wizards, and they're alluding to, like, well, this is just, like, this Eastern sect uses black magic, and that's what they're referring to. And I think it's still deeper than that. I think it's still wise to be critical of the media that we consume. Like, I don't think that alleviates any of my concerns about it perpetuating, you know, passively or actively, like, perpetuating negative stereotypes, stigma, associating blackness with evil or bad. Like, I think it harm reduces for everybody if we just, like, pay attention more to that stuff and try to not lend more credence to that. Like, let's not contribute more to that. I'm sure I am, from what I've seen, like, a little bit in the sequel, they have more about this demographic of characters. I still think the same. I retain my opinion. So, yeah. Fuck racism. Fuck white supremacy. Fuck anti-black perpetuation. All right. specifically because all of the main characters you play as are white. And there's just not really, like... And I guess this is a good segue into the Cavedweller village. I talked about it in another recording I was doing for Ragnarvalder, but unfortunately the file got messed up, so I couldn't recover it. So I'll talk about it again. But like it feels bad to me to be playing as a white character, just raiding this village with, look, that clearly Indigenous depictions. Like, I am not Indigenous. And also, I listen to people who do have that experience, and hear that there's a lot of harm done in depicting cultures in this way where they're set as like kind of brainwashed, mind-controlled demographic in this game. And yes, there's evil all over the world in this game. And was it necessary to depict these characters in this lore as stereotypically Indigenous, tribalistic people? I don't think this is going to be a popular opinion, and I don't care about popularity as much as I do about just healing people, healing the wounds that colonizers have entrenched in many marginalized communities over many, 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 many years. It matters to just say, like, hey, let's not do this anymore, because it actually is really easy, and we're not entitled to depict our fantasy worlds in a way that doesn't show a lot of care and consideration for other people's real experiences, where they are getting like racist or a very bare minimum culturally insensitive, microaggressive remarks when they're just going grocery shopping or stepping outside of their house. Like, I'm in the United States, so we have a very very layered history of enslaving people and in genociding populations. And we have prison labor, which is modern slavery. And it's all not okay at all. So yeah, I as much as I enjoy horror as a genre, and playing video games adds an extra sensory experience that I think a lot of people who play horror games or watch horror films, they are looking for a particular sensory experience. And I think that there is an openness to considering topics about violence and human nature and how that hurts others and ourselves. And I also think we can always be improving the genre by showing real prioritization, demonstrating a prioritization of people who are harmed by their real harm being depicted casually, to like build the world of people who are not entitled to depict that suffering or comment on it in this way. That doesn't really give enough explicit condemnation of the suffering inflicted. You know? Okay. We can move on. I know it's a difficult topic, but it's really important. Like, it's really, really important. It really matters to deconstruct what feels normal, what feels like, why are you making a big deal out of it? Because it is a big deal, because this is how we perpetuate violence going forward. And I do not want to perpetuate more violence. So, yeah. I don't know. You can tell me what you think. Please be kind and considerate of other people. Do not use hateful language. I never get comments, and I've never gotten like a negative comment so far, or like a just bullshit bot comment. But it's gonna happen. I know, as I get more and more vocal, especially the more energized I am when I'm talking about this stuff, that tends to get people defensive, and that's, you know, part of the process of changing. So just be respectful, and I will not tolerate any micro or macro aggressions. Thank you. All right, I've finished getting items. And I did not find an explosive vial, so I bought one off of a shopkeeper here in the village. However, now I'm about to take the cube of the depths, as it is needed to get into Mahab. And I did not get the stone crown from the salmon snake, so that's gonna activate the village now. The game's coding, so they will be hostile to me now, and which that's what I meant by the mind control element that I don't like. That said, on practical gameplay terms, how this affects me now, I went ahead and got the explosive vial so that I can get into the thicket, and now I will no longer be able to purchase items from merchant here. So, gonna do my best to avoid people on my way out, because I also don't like that you have to destabilize people by cutting off their body parts, because literally that's what colonizers and genociders have done. So yeah, again, I know this game is about fear and hunger and horror and civilization atrocities. I just don't think enough people, I don't see enough discourse reading into those deeper themes. And I really think it's important to always read that deep into any kind of art. Like, remembering like have a nuanced, balanced relationship with it. So I like this game, and I don't like the way it depicts some of these things. And I wish that it had explored it with more explicit critique, as just being a responsible artist and creator. So, that said, I will move on now. Alright, we're back in the level 1 entrance, so I'm gonna buy... Can't attack him here, you have to purchase from him. Just reiterating that. Alright, we've got maps number 1 and number 2 now. And I am going to now go to the thicket so that I can unlock the Eastern Sword, since that has a high critical rate. It is very helpful in taking out Isaiah later on. I still have not gotten better at avoiding the hounds here. I hoped I would have, but it is really hard to predict where they're going. And they're very fast. Here it is. Did forget to put on this at half lift. All right. We are back in the catacombs, which you can access through the mines. Okay. I'm gonna put up a blood portal here. I got a scroll of the black arts, so I could get black orb. Why not? Just in case. this night lurch out of the way. Okay, Chrome Waller's here. Hopefully he's behind me. And up here. No? Okay, we're good. Alright, Lagarde has been checked upon, verified. I did double check that you have to examine him in order to leave when we're done getting the King's Crown. The mist will prevent you from exiting the dungeons if you have not verified that Lagarde is dead, so. This is why it's helpful to unlock lockpicking in the intro. Okay, use the Cube of the Depths to put us in past Mahab. And we need to solve the puzzle with the statues here in the Tomb of the Gods. And I'll just leave this in because you never know if someone watching this without watching the other series. And well, for me, this is the most reliable method. I'm sure there's a speed running technique out there that is even faster, but alright. And I'm not gonna bother looting that yet. Instead, I'm gonna go back down here, avoid him. Gonna use the Cube of the Depths again to go back to present Mahab, Tomb of the Gods. We are gonna have to fight off some ghouls here. Okay. And I have learned to just hold off on using green herbs to cure infected limbs until I leave here, because there are more ghouls and they will inevitably infect my limbs again. So. But I will go ahead and use a cloth wrap. I've got a lot of those. We'll check that. I've got the best equipment I have equipped. Yes. Gonna not get in that bear trap. Not gonna get in that bear trap either. Go down here. Level 2 gods. We're not going in that bear trap either. And we're just gonna grab the old passage key. There is a body snatcher enemy in there though, and he can blow poison paralyzing darts at you on this overworld map, so beware. Get out of there. Unfortunately, you cannot just talk to the ghouls in order to get them to stop attacking you here. They will just keep going. So, just to differentiate it from the ghoul at the very beginning in the level 1 entrance and the one in the levels 3 prisons. All right. So we got the old passage key, and we're gonna keep moving along, booking it up here. I like to... Oh, and here is where you can dig up the map number 1 treasure. It has to be in present Mahab, here in the ancient city square. But you do not have to dig this one up in order to get Cahara's S ending. I do like to put the Cube of the Depths back on to pass Mahab to go through here because the enemies are easier for to dodge. Why not? I forgot to cure green. Okay. That's all right. I was thinking about creatively, like, doing a, trying to do a vegan run because my personal journey, I have been vegetarian for like 4 years almost now. But the last few months I have the correct bubble popped for me, and I have been intentionally making vegan choices and trying to build a fully vegan lifestyle for myself. I say as I sacrifice a human there. I thought that might be interesting to kind of adapt to this gameplay because I do think that like there is and is not privilege in choosing vegan eating and lifestyle habits. I think that, you know, animals, including human animals that are in survival mode, like it's just going to be way harder. It's possible, but like, you know, I don't condemn people for, you know, having to abide also by the systems that we do have in place that, like the meat industry has really normalized meat. And even though I was vegetarian, trying to be plant-based as much as possible, a lot of ways, the last 4 years, it wasn't until recently where I had the information that shifted me to like take out dairy as well, and eggs, and honey. Also, honey's really hard to avoid nowadays. Like there's honey in a lot more than you would expect, and also gelatin. It's hard. It takes a lot of intentional effort to change and shift out of what is most easily accessible. I don't think it's more expensive. I think this is just capitalism, specifically in the US, which is where I am. I don't identify with a community, though. I don't really fit in fully anywhere. So I'm not, and I don't, I'm not telling other people to be vegan or to change their lifestyles. Like, I don't know you. I don't know what you have going on that's like limiting, or like I do encourage everybody to find ways to harm reduce, because yes, the principle is very key for me, but it's also just recognizing the reality that, like, even though we can say, oh, well, we let them free range our chickens, and oh, we let the cows eat grass instead of just fattening them up with grain. The reality is that the intense industrialization that like the US has and many parts of the world is exploitative and still frankly unethical. And like the biological process of egg production, like from my lens, it is that we do not have the right as human animals, just because we're sentient, to just yoink the eggs from chickens. Because, like, yeah, the industry says, well, it's like a byproduct. We're just taking the byproduct. But, like, those eggs do have a purpose in their biology. Like, it's there to provide nutrients for the chickens themselves to eat if they need to. And like with dairy production, I think for a lot of people, you really gotta, that you have to see what's happening to most cows in order to get the amount of milk on grocery store shelves that we do. Even if they say, oh, but they're not raised in the factory, oftentimes baby cows are like tied to posts and just fattened up. Chickens can't, they're so fattened that they can't walk. And they'll just die from flipping over. Like, I'm sorry, I know it's hard, but also it's a horror game, and I am going to talk about the horrors of the real world too. And this has really deeply been impacting me lately. So, yeah. It's hard to reconcile truth with, you know, we don't want to feel like we're contributing to that when we buy a pint of heavy cream. But these industries continue because the demand is there. So I don't know. I think it's important to do what I can on an individual level because I do know what's going on and I don't want to continue living in a cognitive dissonance of just compartmentalizing it because animals matter, insects matter also. Insects, we don't know totally if how much pain they feel like if you kill a bug, but like they react when they're injured and stuff, which is enough to, I think, question, you know, our right to take any life. Of course, it's impossible to avoid all harm, but why not try to mitigate it as much as possible? That's where I am in my life journey, anyway. Okay, I'm gonna highlight a bug here. That's kind of annoying. So I just went and raised my affinity with the bunny mask people so that I could, well, it was just to heal, but I did come back and unlock Loving Whispers, and sometimes the game will not acknowledge that you did that, and you can never use Loving Whispers, and you can't try to unlock it again. So it's fun. But I did also go ahead and unlock On Guard, which will help with getting initiative on enemies. I am remembering to use a green herb this time. Okay. We are good. I can make a blueberry pie. Hunger. No, my Loving Whispers isn't audible, I suppose. Ooh, that was lucky. Especially while I was talking. Pro gamer move. I think, like, growing up for the longest time, I was like, well, when I get really good at video games consistently, then I can make videos. And then I waited another, what, 13, 14 years? And I never got consistently good at video games. I'm good at like a particular few, but like I have to really like a lot of things about a game in order to play it enough times to build that experience, so to speak. Oh, what are you doing here? You're like never here. Although I think that's bugged. Like I think it just the fight immediately ends. I don't think worry about it actually. Remembering to put the Eastern Sword back on. Look, I got a pretty good collection this time of equipment. Not monocle, really, but the rest of it. Bad. Oh. Please. Thank you. That was risky. Because that pollen, it infects you. You're like cooked till you get out of the fight. And likely won't survive it anyway, though. Okay, we're good. Now we can go back to the library. And we not have leg sweep. But maybe I can just avoid her. I will go ahead and check the shelves just in case. You never know. Ha 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 ha. Indeed. Ha ha. Well, she's having a good time. Okay, we avoided her. Alright, this is where the map number 2 treasure is. I think I'm good to go. Because Isaiah will attack us. 70 silver coins. There they are. Yeah. Hello. Okay, didn't get a critical one. I don't want to risk it. I'm just gonna guard because he's gonna do his coin flip attack. Yeah. I'm surprised it only did 6 damage. I guess having the plate armor really does help. I don't need my arm. Alright, we got map number 3. Yes. And we have the old passage key. Okay, wait, let me concentrate. I gotta get through here while avoiding this enemy the best I can. Hug this wall, because she can get you if you're right up on the edge. Okay. Now, go down here. Use Cube of Depths, because I don't really want to fight the other enemy type that appears in the present Mahab. So I'd rather be in the past for transit. And it'd be really nice if the Loving Whispers bug hadn't happened and I could heal myself. Oh, I could have used a blueberry pie. Whatever. Okay. We're back here. I'm going to leave it on the past Mahab. I would prefer have enemies that I know will appear in the present. Alright, now we will use the Cube of the Depths to change this again. We'll enter the castle. Here we go, the map number 3. Oh. Un momento. Just go ahead and put it back on. Here is the map number 3, Treasure. You find the king's crown from the chest. This crown looks very valuable and pricey. It is bound to guarantee wealthy life if you sold it to proper vendors in the kingdom of Rondon. The amount of silver and gold you could get from this would greatly exceed the amount you were originally promised as the bounty. There is no need to continue your journey to the depths. You could escape these dungeons and leave all this behind while you are still alive. Yeah. Very different from, like, Inky and Ragnvalder. Get away from him. Back into the Tomb of the Gods, so I'm gonna go back up here instead. going to actually switch this back to the past though first. Oh gosh, this is in bad danger of freezing. Okay, turn this back to the present. Blood portal. Let's go back to the entrance. Are the hounds here? Where's that? Here. They are here. Okay. We are going to go the other way then. I don't even want to deal with a potential game over from the hounds. Feel slightly more secure to have my health up. Alright, we're getting out of here. Alright. And unnecessary nude woman for his happy ending, but here we are. You managed to escape the dungeons of fear and hunger alive. It is a feat unheard of before. Not only that, you also managed to find valuable loot that would guarantee a wealthy future. The long journey back to the civilization felt like a lifetime. You could not sleep as you constantly felt eyes lurking in the shadows of the night. Okay, I thought it froze. The darkness, even though it was lighter than anything you experienced in the dungeons, still sent shivers down your spine. As you finally found your way to the kingdom of Rondon, everything felt unreal. You could not understand how people would lead their everyday lives simultaneously as a great evil existed beneath their feet. You sold the ancient crown to the highest bidder. The amount of silver you got from it exceeded your expectations greatly. You also felt better getting rid of such unholy artifact, as it kept reminding you about the darkness. You rose from the lowest class scum to a noble in a heartbeat. You bought your wife free from the labor she was forced to do at the red light district and settled down in a fancy manor. Yeah, why was she forced to? Like, because capitalism? Or, like, is Cahara a trafficker? I don't know. You got everything you ever dreamed of. You got most of the noble families on a leash thanks to your great wealth, taking any breadcrumb you threw at them. You were living in the most extravagant manner with your wife with no seeming worry about the future. Still, you could not sleep. Every passing moment you would be grabbing on the hilt of your sword and staring at the dark corners of your room, just waiting for the inevitable. You knew that the darkness you witnessed would leave no survivors. It would still come for you one day. Ending S. Happy ending. I wasn't sure if there was more music or not. Okay. So yay! We have completed the final adventure for the S ending of the playable characters. I do feel differently about this ending than, say, Inky's path to enlightenment. I felt like that was a lot more harm reductive of a path to pursue narratively. Yeah, I don't think it's inaccurate for this time period that Cahara's unnamed wife would still be nude even after she was supposedly alleviated from having to be sex trafficked. But like, why? Why do we need to have that too? Like, I again no, this is a fantasy world, and also these themes are not inaccurate to even current civilization, colonization. But yeah, like, personally, I don't love it. Like, it does hurt me to see that I can't even escape that expectation being presented in media. And I've mentioned this before, but I am gonna go ahead and address it a little bit more here, that I really don't like that this game has some game over special events, you could say, where your character gets sexually assaulted, and that there is even a status effect that is just there to remind you of it. Like, I don't think that that's funny, and I think it's really disturbing, especially because there are so many people, and people who are drawn to horror genre, who have experienced this type of sexual violence personally, or people they know, and it's just like embedded into social conditioning worldwide. So even though, sure, it is horrific, I was really, every time it happens when I game over, it's just like so unnecessary. It's an unnecessary harm. And I don't think it's edgy. I don't think I want that in games. It doesn't feel like it was implemented into this game's design with the perspective of survivors of sexual assault in mind, prioritized. So, but like I've said over and over again, I like many things about this game. I am looking forward to playing Fear and Hunger 2. And also, I think everything is that deep. Like, I think it is really important to engage in critical thinking, even when the burdens of the world make us feel like we want to turn our brains off. Like, that's a valid feeling that is indicative that we need rest. And, you know, I don't think that when I engage with this type of media that I should afford to turn my brain off for it. There are a lot other cozy experiences where I don't have to feel so impacted. But yeah. So that all said, I just my values are really important to me, and that is what I want to share on this platform, especially with all this propaganda. Like, I'm so sorry if you got ads that are like war propaganda, military propaganda, but that's likely. Free Palestine, fuck genocide, and yeah, don't become a depressed billionaire who just like stole and exploited other people to get to this place where, well, I bought my wife out of trafficking. So anyway, that said, I hope that you got something out of watching this series. And I don't know, maybe I'll see you for Fear and Hunger 2 if it feels like I can present that with some harm reduction. And yeah, hope you're all hanging in there. Whatever got going on, however you're impacted by the horrors of the real world. They are many, and keep fighting. So, until next time, take care.